Hey everyone, welcome back to Citywide Blackout, your home for music, movies, and more. I'm the host, Max Bowen. In this episode, I'm joined by Alicia Reisman, the songwriter behind the Reese Collective, and her debut album, The Journey. This collection of Christian music has a very unique aspect. Although Alicia is the writer and creative force behind the project, each track features a different singer. We're introduced to the different artists, how she met them, as well as what they all bring to the table in terms of skills and suggestions. Welcome back, everyone, to Citywide Blackout, your home for music, movies, and more. I'm your host, Max Bowen, and now I am very, very excited to be joined by Alicia Reisman from the Reese Collective, a Christian band which has a very, very unique approach to making the music. First off, Alicia, thank you for joining me. It is great having you here.
Thank you so much for having me today.
So, as I mentioned, your group is something I've never actually heard of before in terms of the way you do this.
Yes.
Each track of your recently released album, Journey, has a different singer on each one.
Yes.
Never heard of that before, but I love the concept because it's this like massive collaboration project with all these different people involved. Where'd you get the idea for this?
My producer, Ryan Snow, and Aaron Brutcher with BSC Entertainment in Atlanta, Georgia, they really came up with the idea because it's never been done this way as a Christian artist. I love writing songs. That's just my heart, and my passion is writing songs, and I've always wanted to write for other people. And it was almost a marriage of both worlds for me, writing for other people, but it's still being my songs and my music and my heart behind every word and, note that went into the songs. And he's like, it's, almost like a Christian DJ Khaled, because he collaborates with a lot of people and they do most of the singing. And
do you sing?
I do sing.
Okay, good to know.
I do sing. I lead worship at my local church, Newman Life Church in St. Johns County. And I play the keys as well. Oh. So you'll hear me playing keys on the musical side of it. And I'm on there somewhere.
Yeah.
But
why didn't you want to sing on this album? I mean, I don't believe that there's a track with you singing on it.
No, there is not a track with me singing on it. And it's not that I didn't want to sing. It was I felt other artists could give the songs better voice than I could. And just to have that variety. And like you said, the collective, just going about it, we're reaching a bunch of different communities because each artist has their own sphere of influence that they can reach with the music. And so we wanted to go about it that way, just to get the music out there more and for more people to be able to hear it.
Okay. I want to talk about the music because I love this album. I'm like a recent introductee to the world of Christian music. Actually, a coworker of mine, she loves listening to it. She plays it at work, and I just
that's awesome.
Totally dug it. I totally dug the passion and like the love in the songs.
Yeah.
What is it about Christian music that really stands out for you that you're such a fan of it?
I was born and raised in the church, and my parents are worship leaders, so it's always been one of those things that's been a part of my life. And just for me connecting with something bigger than myself and the heart, like you said, the heart behind the music is what it's about for me. And I wanted to be able to write what I was feeling, not only at that time, but just write so that someone else going through something could listen to those songs and feel the same heart and passion behind it as well.
Mm-hmm. I figure in that kind of environment, it's going to go two ways. You're either going to love it when you get older, or you'll be like, no, never again. I never want to hear this ever again.
I still play it, to be honest.
That's
and
good.
There are days, it's my music. Yeah, I'm kind of biased a little, I guess, but there are days I just need those lyrics. And it's the heart, it's the scripture behind each word that brings me back to a place of, God, I need this right here in this moment. Mm-hmm. So let me put this song on and remind me of what you spoke to me when I was going through some of the hardest times in my life.
Yeah. One of the things I really loved about it is just the intensity. Now, I'm not a particularly religious person. I guess I fall into the category of being agnostic and that I'm sort of like undecided.
Gotcha.
I do believe in something greater than what we see before us. I just don't necessarily follow one particular doctrine or another. But
Gotcha.
I still love the intensity, and I feel like Christian music can appeal to someone who isn't really religious. But I think that they
Yeah.
have to just remember, like, look, no one's trying to push you to church. It's just they're giving their message, their interpretation of things, and I think if you keep that open mind, it just sucks you right in.
Yeah. Yeah. And we wanted to, to do it that way, to reach, across the board, not just the Christians, because a lot of Christian songs and artists write for the Christian audience, for the church. And we wanted to reach outside of the four walls of the church and reach somebody else who's hurting and speak to them in, whatever they may be going through, whether they're Christian or not. People need uplifting, and people just need to sometimes just shake off the crud that they're going through. And like what we're going through right now is just this time in this country and the world is crazy, and people just need hope.
Exactly. I want to talk about the artists you work with here. How did you meet these people?
So I connected with a lot of them through my producer.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are based in the Atlanta area. There's one, actually, Megan Morin. She is actually on Refuge. She goes to my church at Pneuma Life in Florida. But Chris Colley, he's based in Atlanta. Amy Little's based in Atlanta. Shane Mathis, Chelsea is in. Brittany Young Brutcher, Jordan Ray. I think I named all of them. Forgive me if I missed one, but they're mostly based in Atlanta, and I connected with them through, like I said, my producer, and they're worshipers in their own right and in their own community. And like I said, we just wanted to be able to reach a bunch of different people. And actually, I'm here in Atlanta right now, working on a couple more new projects to come out soon, hopefully next month. And I think this is going to surprise a lot of people because it sounds a lot different than The Journey, but it's still that music that reaches across to both sides.
Okay,
And,
I can guess. This is going to be your metal project.
no, not heavy metal yet.
Oh, come on! I've never actually heard of like a Christian metal band, but they've got to be out there.
Yeah, they have some. They have some.
I've got to find them now.
Yeah.
I've got to find them now. This is going to become like my mission.
Maybe Skillet. I don't know.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Skillet. Yeah, I totally forgot about them. Yeah.
But they have some. But no, this one's going to have. It's going to surprise people. I'll just let people, leave people in suspense a little.
Oh, I cannot wait. Wait. It
is really going to surprise, and they'll be like, "Oh, is this Reese Collective?" And then they're like, "Oh, is this still Christian music?" But yes, it is, and it's going to be so good, and I just can't wait. And that'll be coming out soon. Hopefully next month we'll have that released, and just finished up recording the last one maybe an hour or so ago. And it's great, and I just can't believe the amazing vocalists, Caleb Morgan and Jamal. His last name is drawing a blank at the moment, but yeah. So this is going to be really great, and I just can't wait to release that out and reach even more people who didn't listen to the first album, or the first album didn't really speak to them. I'm praying that this will.
Of the artists you worked with, were there some that you were like a big fan of prior to like this project?
I would say Chris Colley, just because I saw him on The Voice.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, he was on The Voice, and he's a worship leader at North Point here in Georgia. So I was a little bit familiar with him prior to him being on the album. But the other ones are so amazing and talented as well. I'm a little bit biased to Megan just because she's on my worship team at my church. And I've always loved her voice, and that was her first time in the studio recording on my album, and she just killed it. And
wow.
Yeah, and she was a pro, and I was so proud of her. And but like I said, they all have really incredible gifts and talents, and each one different and unique, and that's what just made the album so special.
hmm Now, with an album like this, a project like this, obviously you can't go on tour unless you had this like giant like caravan for the whole group. But have you had the chance to do any kind of listening parties, or maybe get like some of the artists together to kind of do a performance?
Well, I did have a listening party when the CD initially came out. It wasn't like a full band scale type listening party. It was just close family and friends, and walk through each track and the heart behind each track. But actually, we do plan on doing live events. We just had one scheduled that we've now had to postpone. Um, but it's happening. I have a band that's going to travel with me, and we're going to bring in some of the worship leaders that are on the album and just some other worship leaders to come and do not only, songs that are on the album, but just other worship songs. And we're going to plan to go into youth camps, other churches, just getting the message and the music out there. So we will be traveling.
Oh, I wish I was down in this area because I would absolutely love to see this kind of show live.
Yeah.
Now, would this be like your first time doing a show, either like your own music or working with like someone else? Because I know you mentioned you do the keys for your church, but have you ever had the chance to like play out before?
No, not necessarily. I've done a few smaller gigs just myself. I've done a few worship and prayer nights, just me and the keys and vocals, so I can sing. But this will be the first time just doing a full-on production, show and just worship experience. I hate using the word show because it's not for show, it's for God.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So, but this will be the first time doing an event. So it's gonna be great, and I just can't wait to get started. And when all this other stuff passes, we will pick back up with the scheduling of that event.
Yes, 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 and it will pass. For the
It
folks
will pass.
for the folks listening right now, I haven't talked about this much because that's not really what my show is about. But I did want to say everything's going on. It will pass. It will end soon. And we'll move on with our lives. I know a lot of folks think it's the end of days or this is our lives now forevermore. Not the case.
No.
Now, you mentioned that you grew up in kind of like a musical family. You kind of like grew up with, with Christian music very strongly in your life. I know you have kids. Do they play? Do they are they musicians at all?
Well, actually, one of my twins, she played the trombone for a while in band in middle school.
Oh.
So, but the little one just got a keyboard for her birthday, and she's 7. They love to sing. They love to sing and dance. And the other of my twins, Anaya, she's really involved with theater at school and chorus, and so they get the gifts. Honestly, I'm not pushing them. Um, Letting whatever talents that they have develop on their own. If they choose to sing, I will help and guide them.
Definitely can't push them into it. They have to come into it on their own. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. That must be a very like loud household, though, if everyone's singing and whatnot.
It is, but at least they're doing it together, so it's just not, like one person's randomly singing a different song over here. Sometimes they try to sing over each other, but that's just kids. But they really love the TikTok thing, and
oh, geez, yes.
They're like, "Mom, come dance with me, come dance with me." But just even working on the journey, they were my biggest fans and supporters, and they would listen to the music as I was playing and just listening myself, just going over and making sure it was right and like I wanted. They would come in the room and just like dance to it. And they were so excited, like, when are you going to release this? I can't wait for it to come out. And so they've been honestly my biggest and smallest supporters, but I love them. It's great having all girls. Yeah. No sarcasm there, but it is great. they they're really great, and even the little one, she'll tell her friends, my mommy wrote this song. So it's really great and special.
Now, this is your debut album. It's your first one, and given
Yeah.
the complexity of this project, I imagine there's a lot of emotions that kind of go into it. When the time came to fully release it, to put it out there for the world to see, how are you feeling?
To be honest, I was nervous. Just how people were going to react and respond to it. Especially people who know me, because I'm a very, very classic introvert. So people who know me weren't expecting, this at all. And just to show this side of me to the whole world all at once, it was a little nerve-wracking for me. But I had a great team and great support system. My pastor, my family, my production team, they've been great, and just telling me, what to expect along the way. And no matter what, we're always going to be here and in your corner. And once we released it, it was just like, okay, people at the listening party was like, okay, people are actually clapping and bopping their heads. And it was just my family, but it was still cool. It was my family and very close friends, but it was still really good just to see them like actually responding to it in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when it came out, it took off more than we even expected or had hoped for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed that you've been written up in a few different blogs and added some playlists, so folks are really hearing the music and featuring it. But I know part of this also, you have to be your own promoter. You have to be your own marketing person, which is difficult on a good day. But how have you gotten the word out there? Do you go with traditional word of mouth? Are you big on like social media?
I'm big on social media and word of mouth, and like I said, just the way we did it, a lot of the other artists help push it as well. Each individual artist on the tracks, they help push it as well. I did a lot of behind the scenes work, just submitting to different playlists and radio stations, and anything I could find as far as the genre. Or sometimes even I was just like, this isn't really the genre, but they might like the song, so I would still send it to them. And sometimes they would come back and surprise me and actually like place the song, just because it really spoke to them, and not necessarily because it was a Christian or a non-Christian song. It was a song that spoke to them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's definitely tricky when it comes to putting yourself out there, because you want to make sure that they like your stuff. You don't want to have them think, oh, well, this isn't for me, and just throw it away. You definitely want to get those responses. Yeah. Would you say you've gotten a high percentage of responses based on what you've sent out?
With this being my first, I don't know what the typical average is, but I would say I've gotten more responses than I thought it would get in sending it out. About 20% of the people that I sent stuff to responded in a good and favorable way, and most of them are still actually playing the songs in their rotation, which is great. And it's just been growing, and like I said, I just can't wait to put out more stuff.
And I'm so excited for the next one. I'm very, very excited for this. Yeah, I know you mentioned that you want to keep folks in suspense, but I'm really curious. Are you really going to be changing genres with your next album, or do you think like the message is going to be a lot different?
The message is going to be a little bit different. The journey was more about hope for me, because I went through a really hard personal struggle, just in my family. There was some challenges. I had a miscarriage, and then lost the relationship. And so there was just some hard times that a lot of those songs were birthed out of. And like I said, the journey was more about hope for me, just speaking to myself. I wrote those songs to speak to myself and, to listen through those hard times. So the message is going to be a little bit different, just because I feel like I'm on the other side of it, but it's still about hope, but more so that, you can overcome anything. So in that aspect, I guess the message is still kind of the same, but the genre is going to be different.
Jeez, Alicia, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's awful.
Yeah. It was a hard time, and like I said, it birthed all of these songs, and it I didn't want to get into a place of depression or woe is me. I just wanted to be able to remember, that there's hope on the other side of it. Brighter days are going to come. The fight was written, because there were times I just felt like I was in the fight of my life, and just knowing that God was always there fighting with me and I didn't have to fight it out alone.
That is my favorite song on the album, by the way.
Thank you.
I loved that song, and that's also the first song too. So you start off with a great opener song. I love that one. I'm not going to ask which is your favorite, because I feel like that is asking which of your kids is your favorite. But is there one song that you feel speaks to you a little more than the others, or connects to you maybe because of your own life experiences?
It is kind of hard to pick one.
Right.
I don't have per se a favorite, but I will always go back to Unshakeable Faith, because that's the first one that I wrote that's actually on the album, and it was just the catapult to this whole project, and it really was my, no matter what I'm going through, I'm going to stand, and I'm going to stand strong in spite of what I'm going through. And so I feel even like right now, just having that unshakable faith that everything's going to be good.
Now, the artists that you worked with for this album, did they offer their own suggestions for some changes to the lyrics or the music?
Yeah, there were some that did offer some suggestions. Most didn't, but there were a few things that got tweaked on some of the tracks, and we're always open to collaborating and listening. And if someone has an idea, I'm not going to shoot them down and say no. I'll at least listen to it before I tell them no. No, I'm just kidding.
My song, no one else's.
I think there was a point in my life where I felt like that, because as a creative person, when you pour your heart and soul into a project, you tend to hold it very close to your heart. And when people come in to critique or change things, then that's when it gets like tricky and hard sometimes. But just working on this project, it's like, okay, if I'm going to bare my soul to the world, I want to put the best version of it out there. And so if somebody has an idea that's better, I'm all for it and open to it.
You mentioned earlier that this is not just meant to appeal to the Christian music fans, that you're looking to appeal to the broader audience.
Yeah.
How do you do that without sounding like you're trying to bring them into church, basically?
I just put the music in front of them. I really don't know, what else to say. I'm going to use Your Love as the prime example. Your Love is getting a lot of plays on non-Christian radio just because of the feel and the groove of the song. And of course the words are great. But I think a lot of people really connect with the music before they hear the words. And then when they start listening to the words, it's like, okay, I really like this song. I think, the music speaks a lot to the younger generation, and the words speak a lot to the older generation. It's been a great thing, because I look at some of the stats and stuff, and like the range of listeners goes from anywhere from 18 to like 55, 60, whoever's listening to it.
Alicia, this has been a great conversation. I've loved talking to you, and I cannot wait for the new album. I'm really, really excited about this. But for the folks at home, where can they go to learn more about you and to get your music?
You can go to my website at www.reesecollective.com, and you'll be able to find all my social media links: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also how you can download all of my music, which is available on Spotify. It's available on iTunes, Apple Music, Google, anything you name it, it's out there on all the streaming platforms and download sites. And that's Reese Collective, The Journey.
Hi, this is singer Kate Eppers, and you're listening to Citywide Blackout.
All right, folks, that brings this episode to a close. Big thanks to Alicia for joining me, and you for tuning in each and every week. Listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Podbean, and every Saturday at 10 p.m. on Boston Free Radio. Here's one of the tracks from the album, My Everything, featuring Amy Little. Keep those ears open.